There is something happening with Victor Wembanyama's offensive game right now that I think the rest of the NBA needs to start paying very close attention to. Because we've spent so much time talking about Wemby getting stronger. We've talked about the three-point shot. We've talked about his ball handling. We've talked about his passing. We've talked about his ability to basically play like a 7'4" guard. But after watching some of these recent clips coming out of the Spurs minicamp in France, there is another part of his game that looks like it might be starting to come together, and that is the low post game. More specifically, you can finally begin to see some of the things Victor Wembanyama has been working on with Hakeem Olajuwon starting to show up naturally. And if this continues, this could completely change the way teams have to defend Wembanyama. Because Wemby becoming a dominant post scorer might be one of the final pieces separating him from being an unbelievable superstar and becoming an offensive matchup that simply does not have an answer. And what makes this even more interesting is that Wembanyama didn't just spend one summer around Hakeem. This has become an ongoing process. Wembanyama returned to Houston again this offseason to train with Olajuwon, continuing a relationship that reportedly included 4 2.5-hour sessions during the previous summer. Those workouts focused on footwork, a jump hook, and Wembanyama developing his own variation of the dream shake. Now we're seeing him back in France, we're seeing him around his Spurs teammates, and some of those movements are starting to look much more comfortable. So let's talk about why that matters. The biggest change isn't the move, it's the patience. The first thing that jumps out to me when you watch Wembanyama operating around the paint is not necessarily one specific dream shake, it's how much more patient everything looks. That's huge. Young Wemby would sometimes catch the basketball and immediately decide that something had to happen. Turn, spin, fade, put the ball down, get into a jumper, attack quickly. And obviously, sometimes it worked, because we're talking about one of the most physically gifted basketball players we've ever seen. But great post scoring is different. Great post scoring is almost like a conversation between the offensive player and the defender. You show him something, you wait for his response, then you punish the response. And that's what made Hakeem so ridiculous. The dream shake wasn't just one move. People sometimes talk about the dream shake like it was a signature animation in NBA 2K. It wasn't. The entire point was that Hakeem had counters. You lean one direction, he's going the other. You stay home, he rises over you. You jump, he's stepping through. You take away the baseline, now he's coming middle. Take away the middle, now he's spinning baseline. That's what I want to see Wemby develop, not 10 flashy moves, a decision tree. In some of these recent workout clips, you can see flashes of that mentality developing. He's probing, he's getting defenders to shift, he's using those long strides, he's keeping the ball elevated, and most importantly, he doesn't always appear to be rushing toward the finish. That is progress. Wemby doesn't need to become Hakeem. And this is important. I don't want Wembanyama trying to literally become Hakeem Olajuwon. He can't. Nobody can. And Wemby shouldn't want to. He's a completely different basketball player. Hakeem was about 6'10" with incredible quickness, balance, and power. Wembanyama is approximately 7'4" with an absurd release point and proportions basketball has basically never seen before. So the goal isn't to copy Hakeem, the goal is to take Hakeem's principles and apply them to Wemby's body. That's terrifying. Imagine a simplified dream shake when the defender already has to contend a shot released somewhere around 9 feet in the air. What are you supposed to do? If Wemby gets one clean shoulder fake and you bite, the possession is basically finished. He doesn't even need 3 or 4 pivots. One fake, one counter, one step, finish. That's all. The jump hook could become a massive weapon. This might be the move I'm watching more than anything else, the jump hook, because Wembanyama reportedly spent significant time developing that shot with Olajuwon. And I've been saying this about Wemby for a while. He doesn't necessarily need another difficult shot. He needs easier ones. Wembanyama can already hit step-back threes. He can shoot ridiculous turnaround jumpers. He can put the ball between his legs and pull up. He can attack closeouts. That's great. But if you're the Spurs, you don't want Wemby having to score 30 points by making 8 unbelievably difficult shots every night. You want 5 or 6 possessions where he gets the basketball 6 feet away from the rim and says, "You cannot stop this." That jump hook could become that move. Think about the release point. Most NBA centers shooting a hook already make the shot difficult to contend. Now, give it to Wembanyama. A defender might play perfect defense and still have absolutely no chance of touching the basketball. That's the type of shot superstars need in the playoffs. A reliable shot, a repeatable shot, a shot you can go to when everybody in the building knows what's coming.
This could solve how teams defend his perimeter game. Here's where it gets really interesting. If Wembanyama becomes significantly better in the post, it actually makes his entire perimeter game more dangerous. Because what has been one of the most obvious strategies against Wemby? Put a smaller, stronger player into his body, get underneath him, make him uncomfortable. Don't allow him to use his length freely. We've seen guards and wings survive possessions against Wembanyama because they can get underneath his center of gravity and make catches difficult. But there is a point where Wemby's post game becomes polished enough that doing that turns into suicide. Because if you put a 6'6" defender on Wemby and he can immediately establish position, what happens? Turnaround, jump hook, drop step, finish, foul. Now you have a problem. You bring your center back onto him? Great. Now Wemby takes him outside. That's the end game here. Not turning Wembanyama into a traditional center, turning him into a player who punishes whatever type of defender you put in front of him. Small defender? Post him. Big defender? Drag him outside. Switch? Punish it. Drop coverage? Shoot. Double team? Pass. That is how you become unguardable. The footwork matters more than the strength. This is another reason I love the Hakeem influence. Everybody's first solution for Wembanyama is always get stronger. And yes, he's going to get stronger. He should continue adding functional strength, but strength alone doesn't create great post offense. Footwork does, angles do, balance does, timing does, technique does. There were players much stronger than Hakeem Olajuwon who couldn't guard Hakeem Olajuwon. Why? Because they couldn't catch him. He was already on his second move by the time they reacted to the first one. That's where Wemby can become special. His mobility is already outrageous for his size. So instead of asking him to become a 280-pound bruiser, teach him how to use defenders' strength against them. You want to push him? Fine. Spin. You want to sit on his right shoulder? Counter left. You're playing aggressive? Use the momentum against you. That's much more sustainable for the type of player Wembanyama actually is. And this is why this isn't just off-season hype. We've already seen signs of these lessons appearing under actual pressure. During San Antonio's playoff run, Wembanyama publicly credited things Hakeem Olajuwon had taught him after using post moves late in a game. Reports this offseason have also emphasized that his work with Hakeem is continuing rather than being a one-time training session. That matters. Anybody can make a dream shake against a trainer. I want to know whether you trust it with 3 minutes left in a playoff game. That's the difference. The move has to become instinct. You don't want Wemby thinking, okay, Hakeem told me my left foot goes here. No, eventually the body just reacts, and that's what thousands of repetitions are for. The France minicamp matters because you're getting those repetitions against NBA players, real size, real defenders, players who know your tendencies, players who aren't just standing there holding pads. That speeds up the process. This is also why the France minicamp is so important, and we have to talk about the bigger pictures surrounding these clips. Wembanyama has brought a significant group of Spurs teammates to France for off-season workouts in Nanterre. Recent reporting identified players including De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Carter Bryant, Harrison Barnes, Jordan McLaughlin, and newcomer Tobias Harris as participants. That is valuable for more than chemistry, because now Wemby can work on these moves inside the context of the Spurs offense. Where does Fox want to make the entry pass? What angle does Castle need to feed him from? When does Harper cut? Where does Tobias Harris relocate when Wemby catches on the block? That's the next stage. Individual skill development is one thing. Integrating it into a five-man offense is completely different, and that's where this can become dangerous for San Antonio. Wemby could finally have an offensive home base. This may be the biggest takeaway of all. Every superstar needs somewhere they can go when everything else breaks down. For Wembanyama, that could eventually become the low post. Think about late playoff basketball. The game slows down, transition disappears, defenses switch, teams know your actions. Your first play doesn't work, your second action gets blown up. Now there are 8 seconds left on the shot clock. What do? Give Wemby the basketball. Block, elbow, short post, go to work. That is what this training could eventually give San Antonio, a reset button. And Wembanyama's version of post offense doesn't have to look like basketball from 1995. You can run inverted pick and rolls. You can have guards screen for him. You can cross-screen Wemby into deep position. You can get him the ball at the elbow. You can turn him into a passer when teams double. The post touch becomes the beginning of the offense instead of the end.
The passing could make the whole thing unfair. And this part isn't discussed enough. If Wemby becomes dangerous enough in the post that teams have to send double teams, his assist numbers could explode. Because how do you double a 7'4" player who can see over everybody? That's a nightmare. He catches, double comes from the corner, kick out, double comes from the top, backdoor cutter, center rotates, lob. Everybody starts moving, and suddenly the post game isn't just generating points for Wemby, it's generating the entire offense. That is where Hakeem's influence can go beyond footwork. It's learning how to manipulate the defense, and defenders can't afford to foul him forever. There is another advantage: free throws. When a player that large gets defenders leaning, reaching, and leaving their feet, you're gonna create contact. Imagine Wemby becoming legitimately comfortable with pump fakes. Not random pump fakes, good ones. Same shoulder movement, same eyes, same ball placement. Defender jumps, Wemby steps through. Contact, 2 free throws. That might not make the highlight reel, but it wins basketball games. That's veteran offense. This could be the next major step. People keep asking what the next version of Victor Wembanyama looks like. I think this might be part of the answer. Not necessarily more three-pointers, not necessarily more highlight reel dribbling. Maybe the scariest version of Wemby is actually the simpler version. Catch at 8 feet, read defender. One move, bucket. Catch at 6 feet, shoulder fake, jump hook, bucket. Mismatch, turnaround, bucket. Double team, kick out 3. That is terrifying because simplicity travels. It works in November, it works in May, it works when you're tired, it works when defenses know your playbook, and it works when the three-point shot isn't falling. So when you watch these recent clips from France, don't just watch the highlight, watch Wembanyama's feet. Watch his balance, watch how long he holds the defender before making the move. Watch the shoulder fakes, watch the counters, watch whether he's getting to the same spots repeatedly, because that's where the real development is happening. Wembanyama doesn't need to become Hakeem Olajuwon. He needs to become Victor Wembanyama with a few pages ripped out of Hakeem Olajuwon's playbook, and that might be even scarier. We've already seen the impossible blocks, we've seen the deep threes, we've seen the handles, we've seen the transition dunks, we've seen the ridiculous alley-oops. But if Victor Wembanyama develops a dependable, patient, technically sound low post game, now we're talking about something completely different. Because eventually, defenses are going to run out of choices. Put somebody small on him, he takes them to the post. Put somebody big on him, he takes them outside. Play him straight up, he shoots over you. Double him, he passes over you. And that's when you realize what Hakeem Olajuwon's influence could eventually mean. He's not teaching Wembanyama how to become an old-school center. He's giving one of the most unique basketball players we've ever seen another weapon. And judging by what we're beginning to see, Victor Wembanyama might be starting to figure out exactly how to use it. And if that low post game becomes second nature next season, good luck, because the NBA already had a Victor Wembanyama problem. This could make that problem a whole lot worse. So what do you think about Wemby's continuing to work out with Hakeem Olajuwon? Do you feel his post game is improving? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.